Hi, I'm Adrian Maidman, and this is I'm Also, the podcast where I talk to people with multiple careers, pursuits, and interests. My guest for this episode is Nathan Stewart. Nathan is a youth and community engagement navigator at Toi Ohomai Institute of Technology, based at the Windermere campus. We'll be talking about what this role involves, and in particular his focus on providing students with help and guidance to achieve their goals.
I'm Also, a podcast from Women Media.
Kia ora, Nathan.
Kia ora koutou.
We'll start with, we've got a special guest in here. Who's your friend?
So this is Manaya, who's my 2-year-old Hunterway Labrador, and my best friend.
That's good. And we'll start with a quick shout out to Mary Stewart, your mum and my old boss, just to get that out of the way. Hi, Mary.
Yeah, hello, Mum.
She'll be laughing right now. What does your job involve at Toi Ohomai? Navigating.
Navigator. So yeah, my job title is Youth Community Engagement Navigator, but I essentially work as the school liaison for the Western Bay. So I look after all the schools here in the Western Bay and just help secondary school students transition into tertiary study.
And what sort of things are they most curious about transitioning from school to?
I'd say a lot of it's to do with either subject selection, helping them out with NCEA and what subjects they need to be able to go into the, study area that they're wanting to go into. And then when students are going into, graduating from secondary school, assisting them in terms of what entry criteria they need. But generally it's just giving them life experience and life advice and letting them be able to bounce off their ideas and what they should or shouldn't be doing, really.
What's your best life advice you give? Well, we'll say you're not very old as well. How old are you?
I just turned 30.
30. Oh, well, that's getting up there now. 30.
Yeah.
That's good. Still young. Still a young man.
Yeah. Well, my father used to say, do as I say, not as I do. I guess I just give them a little bit of... I try and relate to students about what I've done in my life and then give them some advice as to whether or not that's something they want to do or not do.
I mean, I was the same. As soon as I left school, I was like, I got no idea what's going on. You realise you don't know as much as you think once you leave school, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know nothing when you leave school. I know nothing now, so...
So what did you do after you left school?
So when I left school, I went down to Otago University to study physical education and Māori. And just getting to Otago was a bit of a roller coaster ride. I didn't get the best career advice when I was at school, so I ended up having to do a foundation course here at the Polytech to get my university entrance, and then from there I finally got into uni. Shout out to Jill Brockus, she managed to get me through. So that was a bit of roller coaster, gave my mum a bit of stress, but then managed to get down to Otago, and I spent 3 years down at Otago. And pretty, yeah.
Did you like Otago?
Yeah, I loved Otago. Probably loved it a little bit too much.
Yeah, that segues nicely into your love Otago a little bit too much story. This news article from the Otago Daily Times says, the University of Otago did not want to be the behaviour police, but believed it had the responsibility and the authority to denounce student behaviour serious enough to affect its reputation. The High Court at Dunedin heard yesterday. The Otago University Students Association is seeking a judicial ruling on the university's Code of Student Conduct, which in 2006 was tightened to make it clear the university would discipline students for behaviour off campus as well as on. And then you come into it. The decision which sparked the OUSA, that's the Student Association legal challenge, was the university's decision under the code to exclude first-year student Nathan Stewart for 1 semester after he was videoed throwing a bag at a passing car in George Street during this year's Orientation Week toga party. So that was was it a hiccup?
Yeah, that was a pretty big hiccup in my tertiary life, or just a life in general. It was a pretty big smack of reality, I guess.
That was a good learning experience, was it?
Yeah, really good. I don't think I learned too much at the start, but now in my later years, I've kind of reflected back on it and seen it as a pretty good learning experience for myself. Yeah, that time at Otago was I mean, I went down. Before I went to Otago, I read Mark Ellis's book, and basically, once I read Mark Ellis's biography, I was kind of hell bent on wanting to go live Scarfy life. So I got down to Otago. As I said, it was a bit of a roller coaster just to get there. And then once I did get there, 3 days into my stay, I was pulled into the head office of the hall I was in at the time. And the head of hall was basically saying that the university wanted to kick me out. So yeah, that was a bit of a shock. Though I was on a bit of a, I still didn't really kick in that they were wanting to kick me out, and I didn't really take it seriously because I was still caught up in the whole orientation of university. But into my start of the first semester, things started to get pretty heavy with legal things, and yeah. So basically, what ended up happening was they wanted to kick me out for the year. I ended up appealing it because I mean I was one of like thousands of students.
Yeah.
And at the time, I just came into university when they were really trying to kick that Scarfy mentality. And change their, I guess, reputation for the university. I was just kind of in the wrong place, wrong time, and 3 News managed to catch me in the act, I guess.
Allegedly.
Yeah, well, I tried to fight it, and I went into a meeting one day with, I guess, the head of the university and another proctor, and I really should have brought in some proper legal representation, but I ended up bringing in one of my friends who was doing first year law, and we did do a pretty good job of pleading our case. And once they gave us video footage of said crime, yeah, I was in a bit of a hard place. So what ended up happening, I ended up having to go through a bit of a legal process, and then they ended up kicking me out for the second semester, and I was allowed to return for the second year. So, yeah.
And came back strong.
Yeah, so I came back for my second year and did the normal, I guess, Otago thing, when flatted down Castle Street, and then started learning about what happens when you destroy flats and things like that. So,
I wouldn't want to be a landowner. I mean, a flat owner down there.
Yeah, shout out Jenny Martin. We put her through a bit of a hell year. So my second year of university, I ended up getting, I think we did like 20 grand worth of damages on our flat. So I ended up having to, try and get a job as soon as I got back home and start paying that off. And that kind of followed me into my 3rd and 4th year of uni.
And did you go to Victoria?
Yeah, so I did 3 years at Otago, and then ended up following a girl. This is what girls would make you do. And went up to Victoria and ended up finishing my degree up there. And so I spent 2 years in Wellington, which was really cool. Wellington and Otago, are sort of completely 2 different student cultures. So it was good to get into somewhere where it wasn't just burning couches and flipping cars 24/7. So yeah, I love Wellington. Cool place.
Yeah, it is a good place, Wellington.
Yeah,
very nice. That's good. So it's better to follow a girl maybe than Mark Ellis, I guess. Something to learn from.
Yeah. No, Mark Ellis is from Wellington, so yeah.
And then what happened? Then what happened after you've got a qualification?
So when I graduated from uni, I was pretty stoked, obviously, and thinking, now I'm gonna attack the world and get into the job of my dreams. But
what was the job of your dreams?
Well, basically, I was probably going to go teach physical education in Māori, but I found it was kind of hard to get a job, and ended up going straight back into working some of my summer jobs. So I worked as a scaffolder throughout university, and worked on the Port of Tauranga. So I went straight into working scaffolding after graduating, which was kind of depressing after putting in, I guess, 4 years of study and then going back into a pretty tough occupation. And then from there, I ended up working for about a year and then moved to Perth. And so I had a couple of friends over in Perth, so I moved over there, which I ended up started scaffolding again over there, and was kind of living the high life in Perth for a little bit. And while I was working in Perth, I ended up walking into a bar and met a lady who asked me what a different occupation. I told her I was scaffolding. She asked me if I'd done any event work, and I was over scaffolding at the time, so I just said yeah, I had. And she said, how would I like to come work these big cancer events, or ride to conquer cancer, as I said. And so I said yep. So I found I guess a new occupation over there. I ended up getting to travel Australia for the next 6 months, setting up these events, which was cool. I ended up seeing a lot of Australia, which kind of set me up for my next journey to go live over in London.
The traditional move to London.
Yeah.
But you ended up in Italy, didn't you?
Yeah, so basically what happened was from Australia, I ended up coming back to New Zealand, and again, I wasn't really planning on going over to the UK, but I guess I had a girl that had moved over there. So I thought, oh shit, I might as well go over there. So I ended up applying for, I guess, the traditional visa for Kiwis to go over to the UK. So I got a visa to go over there, and it just so happened at the time that a job popped up with some of my friends to coach beach volleyball over in Italy. So they couldn't do it, and they put it out to a couple of the boys, and I wasn't going to apply for it, but then I thought, oh, stuff it, I might as well have a go. So I applied for this job over in Italy, and they ended up giving it to me. And another one of my friends, or best friends from here in Tauranga. So it ended up working out pretty well that I was going to be moving over to London, and then being able to go straight from London to Italy to start coaching beach volleyball. So
that's really good.
Yeah. So no, my background's in volleyball and beach volleyball, and I'm kind of lucky that a lot of my friends, they do it for a living, or play beach volleyball for a living. So I've been lucky enough here in Tauranga to kind of being around it most of my life.
I've never been able to do what's that called, that one?
A bump.
I can't do that.
Or pass. I don't know.
I've never been able to do it.
Yeah.
I like volleyball apart from that bit. Not that.
Well, you're showing terrible technique at the moment.
I know, yeah. It's one of my life regrets.
Yeah.
And how long were you in Italy for?
So I lived in Italy for about 6 months, 7 months. And that was an awesome job. I loved my time in Italy, and I was if anyone listening, look up the beach volleyball marathon in Bibione. It will kind of blow your mind. That place was insane. But yeah, that whole period of living overseas was awesome, but it was pretty tough at the same time. At that time period, I was kind of shoot first and ask questions later, and I was pretty impulsive. So I left New Zealand with maybe $1,000 New Zealand for a 2-year trip over in the UK. So by the time I got to London, I spent that within the first maybe like 2 weeks, not even 2 weeks, a week. So I've lived on the bones of my ass here in New Zealand. I can kind of manage, but overseas it gets a bit tough. So I was lucky when my job in Italy that they paid for my accommodation and paid for my food and everything. So I was just hanging out to make sure I could get over to Italy to start working.
And then back, so key learnings from being overseas?
I think the one of them is just learning about different cultures and being able to interact with different cultures and how people, different perspectives and how people see things. I really enjoyed being able to, especially Italian culture. I learned a lot in how they interact with things, how they see things, and I think traveling is a must for everyone. If you're kind of lost and looking for your passion and wanting to do something, traveling definitely gives you some sort of insight and direction, possibly direction. That was kind of one of my hopes when I left to go overseas, was to try and find like my passion, which didn't really happen, but at the same time it gave me a lot, just a lot of experience in terms of what I should and shouldn't do, I guess. Yeah.
And what are your sporting pursuits now?
So originally, I guess my sporting aspirations was to play rugby, or play professional rugby, all through school and university. Surfing's kind of been always my passion, and I kind of found out that if you wanted to pursue something professionally in sport, you really have to have a passion for it, and rugby really wasn't my passion, which was kind of a hard pill to swallow, I guess, because it's kind of, I guess, every New Zealand guy's dream to play professional rugby and play for the All Blacks, etc.
You got to have that mental love of it, don't you?
Yeah, but if that's with I guess anything, but especially in professional sports, and I see it with my friends who play professional beach volleyball. They're really single-minded in terms of what they were doing. So you really have to be, focused on and really loving that sport. And if it was a rainy, cold day, I wasn't really super keen on wanting to go out and play, even though I probably had, I guess, the talents and stuff. You really need to be able to have the passion to push through. So surfing's always been my passion. So it's something that I've always kind of done. And now jiu-jitsu's kind of become my main focus. So yeah.
What's the key points of jiu-jitsu?
Well, they call jiu-jitsu the gentle art, but I find that it's anything but gentle. But jiu-jitsu for me, anyway, has been, I guess it's changed my life in a way. Just in terms of like the philosophy of it, it's a really humbling sport, and really teaches you how to have humility, how to respect people. You really get an understanding about who you are as a person, and how you go about challenges and how you're going to. I found for myself anyway that's really taught me a lot about myself.
What's your club?
So I train out of Tamaru Jiu-Jitsu in Papamoa. Shout out Nick Tiote, he's my coach. And so I've been really lucky. I live just around the corner from my club. And yeah, I've been lucky to be able to go to that gym.
Guess on the competition side of things, you've got a twin, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a twin brother, Vinny Stewart.
Has that been sort of more competitive or supportive?
I'd say it's more supportive. Me and him are kind of polar opposites, really. Yeah, Vinny's he's actually a graduate here at Ohomai. He did the Marine Studies program here.
Oh, that's a good course.
Yeah. And he really loved his time here. But he's a super chilled out guy. He loves sport, but he's not really into the competitive side of it. It doesn't really faze him too much. He's a good looking one. He's got green eyes, tall, curly hair. So yeah. No, besides Vinay, he's my best friend, Vinny. He's the man.
Right, I'll move on to plug a product. Plug a product where you can promote something you're doing or something you're interested in or like.
Plug a product. I'd probably honestly say that the one product I'd plug is jiu-jitsu. If anyone's looking for something to do, looking for some direction, I think jiu-jitsu, especially for any kids, but adults as well. It's an awesome vehicle to be able to start building your self-esteem, your confidence. Anyone that I've seen that's come into jiu-jitsu after a couple of weeks, you see that their confidence starts building in themselves. And it's, you're learning a practical skill that you can use in life, but I think the lessons that you learn about yourself, about other people, are things that you can apply to your everyday life. So, yeah.
What was your club again?
It's called Tamaru Jiu-Jitsu out of Papamoa. Yeah.
Does it have a website?
Yeah, we've got a website, also got a Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, Tamaru Jiu-Jitsu would be the place.
Any final, maybe tying it all back to your job, any sort of final tips you would like to provide with all that wisdom?
I'd probably say for students or for people in general, the biggest problem I've encountered with my role and my interaction with students is people lacking their why in life or what their purpose is. And I think if you are struggling to feel like you are kind of just in limbo in your life, trying to figure out that why and what your purpose is here. So at the moment, and your purpose can change or your why can change all the time. And I think for me at the moment, my purpose is kind of I've got a little, slogan I say to myself, which is educate, motivate, and inspire students. So every day when I wake up, that's something that I can kind of, base my life around. So it gives me some direction to put my time and energy into, and make me feel like that I'm contributing to something. And I think when people don't feel like they're contributing to something, that's when things like anxiety and depression can start, wreaking havoc on yourself. So I think that's a good place to start, is trying to figure out what your if you can't find your passion, start figuring out like what your purpose might be. And your purpose could be something small as well. It might be to love your whānau, or to, you know, to be a good parent, or to be a good son or daughter or something like that. So
Cool. We'll finish on on that positive. What's your why? What's my why?
well, as I said, my why at the moment is to help rangatahi, or to help anyone really, is to educate, motivate and inspire them. I've got a huge passion for being able to provide people with some sort of motivation to get them into something that they like doing, or to something that they didn't realize that they liked. That's a real cool aspect of my job. Is sometimes some students will come in with an idea of thinking that they want to do a certain subject, and then after having a bit of a chat to them, they kind of realize that they don't actually want to be doing that, and they get a real kick out of something else that we might offer, or that another institution might offer, or
Yeah, I mean, a good talk like that can save years.
yeah,
someone,
exactly. Yeah,
From my own experience as well. Save years of just going the wrong way, or
Yeah.
not knowing where you're going.
and I think that's for me has kind of been the tough part, is that I've got a really good, supportive, loving family. I mean, you met my mother, and I've got a really good dad as well. But I never really had someone that was kind of guiding me through a lot of the things. A lot of things I've kind of done in my life are complete opposite to what my family have experienced or done. I'm kind of like, I guess, the black sheep. So I've really had to learn, you know, through the hard knocks, really. And so I felt like if I just had a little bit of advice here or there, it would kind of help me save a lot of time and wasted energy into things. So that's kind of my passion as well, is being able to impart some of the things I've done to help people not have to go down such a turbulent road, I guess.
Cool. We'll leave it there. Thank you, Nathan.
No worries. Thank you very much.
And
Big boy Mans.
just chilling out there.
To listen to more episodes, subscribe at Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, or there's plenty of other ones as well.